Hi all, welcome to Salesforce in 5 minutes. In this video, we are going to learn how to create a pop-up like functionality just like this, the standard pop-up like this using LWC. So what we are going to do is basically we are just going to create this such kind of standard pop-up functionality using LWC. But before getting started, if you really like my videos, I request you to please subscribe to this channel. So let's jump back to our video. So in the previous video, what we did was we built a very simple straightforward form. So once we click on new, the form opens in a completely new page and it does not appears like a pop-up, right? So now what we're going to do is we are going to build something that would be very similar to that of a pop-up. So let's jump back to our LWC Studio. Inside LWC Studio, what I've done is I've created a one more LWC component that is called as pop-up reusable. Now I have used this pop-up reusable so that I could separate out the pop-up functionality and showing the record edit form functionality like completely different from each other. So they are completely separable from each other. So I can use this pop-up on some another objects as well as per as the need. So this is my pop-up reusable functionality. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call my record edit form because inside that pop-up I need to show my record edit form. So I'm going to call this reusable record edit form. C hyphen reusable hyphen record should be R should be capital record edit and hyphen form. So I've called the reusable record edit form inside our pop-up, but I also need to call the pop-up. So inside this new button I've overridden with aura component. This is the aura component, override a new contact button. Inside this contact button I'm calling the record edit form. Now instead of calling the record edit form I need to call this pop-up LWC component, and this pop-up will call the reusable. So that's how we can show whatever form we want inside the reusable, or that's how we can uh, fire the pop-up functionality. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call the pop-up reusable instead of calling this inside my aura component. Pop, I think so it's pop and UO, pop UO reusable, UO reusable. Okay, so now instead of calling the recorded form, I'm calling the pop-up reusable component, which in turn is going to call the reusable recorded form. But I'm going to make this pop-up reusable component such that it should be capable to appear as a pop-up. So to do that, first I'm going to create a section. Role should be dialog. Next is tab index should be -1. Area labeled by should be model heading. It can be anything, but I'm just giving model heading 01. Area model should be true. Next is area described by should be model content. Let's keep it as model. It can be anything you want, but model content. I'm keeping it as id hyphen 1. And finally, I'm going to give a class to it. Now the class would be slds model and the components of it like slds hyphen model and then slds hyphen fade hyphen in hyphen open. Yeah, that's how we can do it. Open, open. So now we have created our section successfully. Let's check it out. Is this section actually working or not? Okay, now somewhat it's covering the whole page, but instead we have to convert it into the small form of container. Now it's covering the whole page. It is like a pop-up, but it's covering the whole page. Instead of covering the whole page, what we need to do is we need to make it much more better. We need to use more slds and css in order to make it better. So for that purpose I'm going to create a div and then the div class would be slds model container, slds model underscore underscore container. So div is created. Let's enclose the div within this record edit form. Now what's going to happen is your form is going to get converted into a small form of container, right? Now within this container, if you check it out inside the standard forms, what usually happens? This is a container. This is nothing but a container. That's fine. But inside this container, there's a header along with that. So I'm going to give the header after this. So to give the header, I'm going to use header itself, and inside this header, I'm going to give class as slds model underscore underscore header. Okay, and let's cover this, and header should be separate as that of the record edit form because it should be at the top of the record edit form, right? So now once this is done, I need to add the title to my header, right? So I have created a header, but I have to also provide the title to the header. So to do that, I'm going to create a h2, and inside this I'm going to write just new account, just like or new contact, just like standard one. Okay, and inside this I'm just going to give some more css that so that it appears much more standard. So I'm going to give class equals to slds hyphen text hyphen heading underscore underscore medium. Okay, sorry, it should be only one underscore underscore medium, and then slds. Now let's try it out. Okay, now it started to appear much more standard. If you see, it started to appear like a standard thing, right? It is like a pop-up, but it's because of this blue screen we are not able to understand. But yeah, now it's somewhat looking like a container, and the new account is there, and there's a required information, but I don't want this, right? Now this is coming from our record edit form. If I go to this record edit form, actually we don't need this, the lightning card, we don't need this. Instead of that, we're just going to make some more changes so that we don't make it look like very much standard. So instead of that, we are going to add more css to it so that it appears a bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first move this record edit form at the top so that I can add the css all together. Now once our css is added, what I'm going to do is I am going to, okay, the text align is right, so the text is appearing fine. The abbreviation is also added. This is also fine, I think so. Next thing what I need to add is I need to add a container again. Outside this I need to add a small model inside this as well. So I'm just going to create a div. Let's call it as slds underscore model and underscore content slds hyphen p around medium, should be underscore medium. So this is the one, and once this is created, what you need to do is just below the lightning layout you need to close this. So our lightning layout ends over, I believe, from here to here. Okay, so we are going to end this div over here, and let's see now. So what I've done is instead of using the lightning card, I'm using the slds model, which is responsible to show the content. Let's click on new. Okay, now it is looking much more standard. If you see, just like standard, it's still not looking that good, but it's somewhat, the UI is looking like we have a new contact. Just like standard, we have a new contact at the top, there's a there's a bar at the bottom, and there's a required information at over here. We can also have a required, there is a account information, or we should actually have a contact information, but we have account information over here, and the fields are coming from the field sets. Okay, next thing, if you see, there's a close bar over here, right? If you want to close this recorded form, you have this close this window, something like that, right? So I need this kind of a button over here as well. Now to do that changes, it's pretty simple to understand. I have to do it inside the pop-up, right? Inside the header itself, I have to add that crossbar so that user should be able to close this down. Okay, so let's do it. Now next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button. Okay, and the class of the button is to slds button. slds button should be appearing like an icon, and next it should be appearing like a close icon. slds modal underscore so close slds fun button underscore icon inputs. Okay, so the button, the title of this button should be there should be a title of the button, right? So title of this button should be, let's name it as close, and on click of it, something should happen, right? But after, like before even clicking on that, we have to add the LWC or JS part of it to close this down, but we just have to add the UI part over here. So inside this button itself, what I'm going to add is, inside this button I'm going to add the lightning icon. Sorry. Okay, so our lightning icon is created over here. Let's add something to it. So in our case it would be utility close. So by Salesforce by default gives something icons so that you can add close, arrow as well also you can add as per as the need. And the alternative text for is, let's name it as close the window, just like standard one, right? Inside the standard, if I hover over here, it says close this window. So I'm going to add over here close this window. Okay, and let's use this. This will have close this window as its alternative text, and the variant should be inverse. Let's keep the size small as well. As soon as I'm going to click on new. As you can see, the cross button is also appearing. If I hover over it, it's showing close and all these things. So this is how we have to build this pop-up. We have to build this cross button, and this is how the overall UI would look like if you follow this video. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we are going to add the custom footer, and along with that custom footer, we will have buttons, and inside this custom footer, we will be also able to show the error messages. So that's what we are going to carry out in the next video. So if you found this video helpful, I request you to please subscribe to this channel.